What's up, CineNerds? I'm JP Cross,
And I'm Ryan.
and today we decided to do a new release film, Dracula, A Tale of Love.
Love Tale.
A love tale. A tale of
Now,
love tale.
now the reason I specified that and clarified that is because I have a big issue with what they did with the American version. They did indeed drop a love tale off. It is only Dracula. And I think they need to have a love tale on it because it is more of a love movie than it is your standard Dracula movie to me.
It is. It is. And, you know, this is going to be a couple weeks later since we just watched this last night, and we're going to probably release this episode in a few weeks. A couple weeks. I don't know. I may change the timeline on when we release this, but regardless, this will be a week or two, at least a week or two after we watched it. We watched this as a mystery movie with Rick from the Whole Damn Enchilada on a Monday before the release of this film in the U.S. And I had not watched a trailer on this film. I actually did not. When we went to watch this movie, Rick kept saying, "Well, I think it's Dracula. I think it's Dracula." I was like, I didn't even know that there was a new Dracula movie coming out. Like, it was how little this film was on my radar. I knew nothing about it. Didn't even know it existed.
I I knew it existed and I didn't know what to think about it. I didn't know what to expect. I will say that JP and Rick definitely enjoyed this movie a lot more than me. We had our little round table after we all got out of the movie. They definitely enjoyed it a lot more than me. I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely enjoyed it, but not to the high
Well,
regard that these two gentlemen did.
I think after I let it settle, I don't have as high regard for it as I did initially. Think once things have settled, but I really fucking enjoyed this film. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed this film.
I'm glad that this movie came out at least a handful of months apart from Nosferatu. Uh, because I mean, at the end of the day, the Dracula story is the Dracula story. You know that there is a person who goes to his house to tell his story. You know that there's a love interest, the reincarnation aspect, as in this one at least, and but there's a lot of similarities regardless of Nosferatu, this and previous Dracula incarnations. So Nosferatu and this coming out and competing against each other at the same time probably wouldn't have been the best idea.
Yeah, no, and this film was, yeah, like you said, this film was supposed to come out a year ago, from what I read, but they held it in the U.S. I guess it was released in France a year ago, but they held it in the U.S. because of Nosferatu. They waited a whole year to put this film out. Makes sense. I wouldn't have put this out against Edgar's Nosferatu. Now, I prefer this film over Nosferatu. I'll go ahead and say that because we were talking in our little round table after we watched this last night. I'm not an Edgar's fan, and there's not been any film that he's done that I've really truly loved. I thought Nosferatu was good. I thought it was okay. The Witch was okay, but were they great for me? I don't think I think Eggers is a great cinematographer, but I'm not into some of his storytelling.
He is just that. His visual aesthetics are beautiful. I will give him the credit where it's due. However, on in my world, he is lower than M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. I have not had one movie experience that I liked yet, and I felt like I almost had it. As I was telling these gentlemen last night, I felt like I almost had it with The Witch. The Witch I thought had all the promise possible. It just dragged so bad that I was falling asleep almost at one point. And to point throw myself under the bus, I don't know if you heard me, JP, but I definitely snored a couple times last night.
Did you? I didn't hear you.
I woke myself up snoring. Let's just put it that way. So there are points that drag in this one as well. But this movie's God, this movie, there are some scenes that just are simply though these points in the movie are just simply perfect. And before we I'll let JP talk a little more past that, but I do want to just say we're gonna try our best because it is still a newer movie to try and keep the spoiler free. No promises. So you've been warned if we slip.
Yeah. Well, we're going to try, but at the end of the day, this is a Dracula story. He didn't change. Now, Luke Beeson or Besson, however you say his name. Now, when I saw his name come across last night, I was like, where do I know this name from? And then I was like, I looked it up today and I was like, I knew that name. He's the same guy that wrote and directed Fifth Element. And he wrote and directed Valerian. He's written and directed like multiple great films.
You left out the best one, Leon the Professional.
I would say, yeah, Leon the
And
Professional.
Lucy. I loved Lucy. He
Yeah.
did Lucy as well.
Yeah, no, he has a fantastic catalog of films, and this is no exception. I mean, this film is fantastic too. But at the end of the day, spoiler alert, it's a Dracula story. It's literally, if you watch Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula in the 90s, this is the same film to a certain degree, but with a few story elements changed, few aesthetics changed, and it's less horror and more love story.
Without a doubt. And you can see as you come into the beginning of the movie, right off the rip, you have the intensity of Elizabeth and Dracula, Count Dracula. You have the intensity of their love and their passion as his people are in the midst of a war, and he is taking time to make sure his queen is properly taken
Taken
care of.
care of.
Yeah, as you should. You know what? Listen, guys. This is what I tell everyone: success to a relationship is the focus on your lady first, always. And once she's comfortable, safe in bed, that's when you go play your video games. You go to your movies. You go out, whatever you're going to do. You always got to make sure the lady's down first, right? Anyways, I digress. So yeah, the love story is established, and you see some of the stuff from the trailer is right here in this very beginning. So it kind of unfolds, and in the first, I think Rick and I were in agreement too. You know, the first 10-15 minutes as a whole is just pretty much damn near perfect. It's a love sequence into a war sequence into his profession of denying God, and the way that it builds from there is just spectacular.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's almost perfect. It's so good. Now, one thing we talked about last night was how gorgeous the girl was that played Elizabeth. Now, Zoe Blue is who played that. Did you look to see who she is?
There was I didn't notice anything that she had been in that I. It was all like kind of lovey dovey stuff.
Yeah. Well, her IMDb beside. You see who her mother is?
No, I'm
Her
gonna
mother
know is
her mother is Rosanna Arquette.
what
Yes. And looking at her now, I'm like, I can see like she's
Dewey.
a she's a better looking version of Rosanna Arquette,
No, she's an
but
Arquette for sure.
but you look at her now and you're like, oh,
You just fucking ruined it.
I
You
see
ruined
it.
You ruined it. All I see is Dewey now. I would whisper in her ear. It was an honor too. No,
She is definitely gorgeous. She is definitely a
without a doubt.
gorgeous woman. And as soon as I saw that Rosanna Arquette was her mom, I was like, I kind of went back and looked, and I was like, I can see that now,
Yeah.
And the guy who plays Dracula, which is Caleb Landry Jones, and I told Ryan last night the whole movie I was watching this, I was like, I know this guy. Well, he played Banshee in X-Men First Class. And he was also the clerk in the little convenience store in The Dead Don't Die.
He's
Um,
also in a movie that I'm dying to see that I haven't seen yet. It's the Tom Hanks Apple movie called Finch. I want to see this really bad. It's a sci-fi future movie.
yeah, I haven't seen that one either. But Caleb as Dracula, man, I loved him. I actually really, really enjoyed him as Dracula.
He looked so freaking weird, but other than that, I enjoyed him too. He did a great job. He knocked it out of the park. But I don't. It was weird. Like, I mean, he's not fat in the slightest, and I'm fat. and this is the shortest my beard's been in a long time, by the way, but I have no jawline, and so like my chin disappears into my neck if I pull back. Like I look like a hot dog, and he just kept being angry like in the movie and pulling back and having these moments where his chin disappeared, and I'm like, why is he doing that? Like it was just weird. I don't know. And he always looked like he had just been choked because his eyes were so red.
Yeah. I thought he did. I mean, yeah, there's some motion things that he did, and he's a
Oh,
weird looking guy.
he's just a weird looking guy, but
Yeah.
no, and not disrespectfully. I mean, like he literally knocked it out of the park with his acting in this. He did a great job, phenomenal job, as a matter of fact. So, uh,
I think he was just as great as
don't say
uh
it, don't say it. He's that he is honestly the reason I didn't like the movie.
really because
Christopher Waltz is horrible. He's
well,
horrible at
I'm
this.
not talking about
Oh,
I'm talking about Caleb. I'm talking about Dracula.
oh,
I think he's just as good as what's his name?
shame, shame. He's not Gary Newman level. No,
Gary Oldman. You're saying
no,
Newman.
I disagree.
He's all. I
Fight.
didn't say he's better than Gary Oldman. I said he's up there with Gary Oldman as
He
Dracula. Like
he did an
His Dracula is really fucking good.
I will give him that. It is good. I just can't put him on Gary Newman level. So
Oldman.
Oldman, my bad. Yeah, different.
Newman
Yeah,
is a pop singer.
yeah. Well, hey, he's not bad either. But no, Gary Oldman though is like he's an untouchable force in my opinion in the acting world. He's one of those unique ones that whatever he does, he just seems to own it, and I'm always good with it. But yeah, no, I got to give Caleb props. You're absolutely right. He did in his own right, in his own style. He owned it, and he made it a solid character. Now that said, I already gave myself away here. Christopher Waltz is in this movie, and mind you, he was in Frankenstein as well. Another cinematically beautiful movie where he did a far superior job to what this was. This was almost weird for me with Christopher Waltz in this. I felt like he padmade us a little bit in this. He had no effort.
The thing with Christoph Waltz is this: he has knocked it out of the park with Inglorious Bastards. He knocked it out of the park with Django Unchained, which you've not seen yet. He not
You know how much grief I've gotten for that, by the way? I have friends messaging me. I have people calling me. Can't even believe the amount of you that love Django that are calling to give me grief saying, you're a movie buff. How have you not seen this? And so like, they're like, get on it. And like, I'm being reprimanded for people. But anyways, go ahead.
but but Christoph Waltz, he knocked it out of the park with Django. He knocked it out of the park with Inglorious Bastards. And he really knocked it out of the park with those two movies. And like I said, Frankenstein, we could throw that one in there. He did okay, and he did pretty good. But those two movies, he really knocked it out of the park. And since then, almost everything I have seen him in, it seems like he's just going through the motions.
He he reminds me of a
he's just kind of there. I feel like if he's not working with Quentin for whatever reason, he's just going through the motions. It's like Quentin really pulls it out of him as a director. And it's like everything else I see him in, he's just kind of mediocre.
I feel like he's a B movie version of John Malkovich. Like he has
Yeah, yeah,
such
he's
powerful moments that translate well on screen, but he just doesn't deliver the execution.
yeah, yeah, and I think he's great with the right director. And I think if he's not with the right director, he just phones it in. And this is the weak point in this film is him. It's wonderful seeing him on screen, but at the same time, it's just he's doing what he does in every other movie if he doesn't have a good director. Or if he doesn't have a director really pulling it out of him. It might not even be that's not a bad director, but he doesn't have a director that pulls that out of him. I feel like he just phones it in every other movie I see him in.
Um, he is definitely a pinch point for me. That aside, the uh, that's why I said what I said at the beginning. I feel it's so important to make sure that they're saying a love tale in this and keep that on the title, because if you go in just expecting a Dracula movie like we've seen in the past, there's just way too much love aspect happening here to not acknowledge it. So it that if you don't put that on it, it's rough. So that, and then I did dig a little deeper. There's some historical errors and inaccuracies in this movie too that now it's bothering me.
Oh
Um,
well, like Vlad the Second.
Yes, should be Vlad the Third, who was the
Yeah,
Impaler.
yeah.
And the date of death was off by 30 years for Vlad the Second, and there's numerous little things that definitely sat with me a little rough. And then last night after we left, and we you guys had professed how much you raved about the film, and I'm gonna quote JP, and I know you took it back, but you did say I'll put it above Bram Stoker's
I
Dracula.
I'd put it above for one reason, and I'll stand on this mountain. Keanu Reeves. Francis Ford Coppola's decision to cast Keanu Reeves, or the studio's whatever happened with casting Keanu Reeves as Jonathan and Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, was a travesty, and I don't think anybody can argue that with me because his fake surfer guy British accent, and I'm not bashing Keanu Reeves, but I'm going to bash him for the Dracula film. I love Keanu Reeves, but
I can deal with that one.
casting him in Dracula was awful. It was an awful idea. He ruined the fucking movie. He ruined he ruined the greatest vampire movie that ever has been done.
I think that if we're comparing apples to oranges, that Christopher Waltz did a worse job than Keanu in that movie.
Oh,
So
I
that
don't know
that's
about
that's
that.
where
Uh,
I'm at with it. Like it's really bothers me too because man, we just reviewed Inglorious Bastards, and I really loved his performance in that. I really did. So I don't want to say that. I really want to give him credit, but I can't because he really even his like attempt like to bring comedy into the movie, like that was I was like, why did you do that?
yeah, 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 yeah. He's not as bad as Keanu is.
I
I'm sorry,
agree to disagree.
but I agree that he is bad, and he is the weak link in this film, and it sucks to say because we know that he's such a great actor.
Yeah, I didn't really want humor in my Dracula movie, no matter love story or not. And he tried to be comedic relief almost at times, and so that combined with the Disney gargoyles we get and the historical inaccuracies, there were some things here that definitely left it. They were left to desire. The good things though, I mean, I'll get right into it, is that this movie had some amazing sequences, some amazing cinematography.
Yeah,
The sequence with the nuns, there's a sequence with
oh,
nuns
so
in a
good.
monastery building, they're basically building a tower because they are so entranced by Dracula, and they're building him up and he starts feeding out, like it's so good. Like
Yeah,
those moments, those sequences, I think there's like three like just stunning sequences of action, blood, Dracula, the way you want him. Those ones they made up for anything else I really had an issue with, and that's why I'm holding this movie in such a high regard. I do feel good about it. I just wish there were some other things. And then let's see.
I want to say right here, standout performance, and it's somebody we've not talked about yet in this film. Matilda DeAngelis, I think is how you say her name, the girl that played Maria. And Maria in this film is essentially kind of the Renfield character, but she's a vampire. And her
You're
performance,
talking about the redhead?
yes.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. So her performance though was amazing. Like when she was chained up in the asylum, and like her performance in that was amazing. Then once she gets out, her excitement for everything is so dramatic and over the top, but it works. Like I thought that her performance was fantastic, and I think we talk about the Dracula performance and this and that, or how bad Christoph Waltz it was in this film. I I want to mention how great the Maria character was in this film, because she was kind of a gem in this.
When I did the announce or the award recognition for Hilda Immaculata, in my mind, I've kind of dropped actresses out of the equation. I feel like they're all actors. I it just they're so. But if I were to do a best supporting actress at this juncture in 26, she definitely deserves a shot there because you're right. She knocked it out of the park. She was great.
Yeah, yeah. She was fantastic, and the Zoe was fantastic as Elizabeth. But she was more laid back. Her character was more laid back, where Maria's character was very vibrant and very alive, and it was two different contrasts, but
She,
it was how it was written. It was how it was supposed to be.
yeah, and we didn't have um Elizabeth or whatever her name is. We didn't have her really at the bloodlust stage yet.
Hmm.
I feel like the Maria character was at that bloodlust stage, so everything was a carefree, without consequence, traditional vampire in that sense. So yeah, she was definitely embracing that and definitely giving you that feel.
Yeah. And you talked about this. I love the cinematography, but talk about the negative. You've already mentioned it, but let's dive into some of this negative. Outside of the one performance, the CGI and the decision to use gargoyles. Now I love the gargoyles. I think it was a cool spin, but man, and I said this last night when we talked about this, was the CGI was so bad on like such a beautiful set, such beautiful cinematography. Then you have such bad CGI for these gargoyles. Like I don't understand the thought process on bad CGI for those gargoyles. I mean, if it costed that much and you couldn't make them look good, could you not cut some of the gargoyles or do something to make them look better?
Yeah, no, I these were like a lesser quality of what you'd see in the statues out of Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
It just gave you that cheesy vibe. It took away from it. I understood they were companions to Dracula, but it just wasn't a it wasn't fitting. It didn't match the rest of the movie.
it
Uh,
didn't at all,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it wasn't even that I had an issue with him having them using gargoyles. I like that little twist, but make them look good.
I,
Maybe
you
give a
know,
little bit. Maybe give a little bit more of a story on how he's using these gargoyles, but or something. But
I'm gonna reference a awesome concert experience I had with this moment. I was working a Cradle of Filth show, and I had not seen them do this particular set yet. And they had all these pillars around the stage, and I thought there were prop gargoyles on the top of these pillars. I was wrong. They were not props. They were actually people that were dancers that were that well make-upped and propped that they looked like they were actual gargoyles. And when they started moving, it was so sequential and methodical. It was just so good. And I guess I get angry in this respect because the CGI, it probably didn't. They could have done practical effects. Those
yeah,
little kids, I think, coming out at the end, which sorry, a little bit of spoiler, but not anything major. But I feel like those kids would have represented themselves better as those gargoyles, or at least keeping things stationary. And like he's talking
hmm,
to things, he's going crazy, and then they start moving when these people invade the castle.
yeah,
But the way that it came out was just that was rough.
yeah. This is my biggest issue with this film is these gargoyles, and they don't work. And even when we get to the end of the movie, and this military that they actually get these all these soldiers actually going in and attacking this castle on top of with the priest and the doctor and your normal cast from the Dracula films or Dracula books. They're evading. Well, these gargoyles are attacking all of these soldiers as they're coming in, and this again will tell you how bad these gargoyles will take you out. And I watched this, and I don't know if you caught this. One of the first things one of the gargoyles does when they first start attacking was one of these gargoyles literally does a hurricane rana to one of these soldiers. Did you catch this?
No, I did not.
He literally does a hurricane rana like a wrestling move to one of these soldiers, and I was like in the theater thinking, I was like, that fucking gargoyle just. Why would they do? Why would they blatantly throw such a wrestling move in?
Hold on, hold on. Greco Roman wrestling's the oldest sport in the world. Let's just put that out there first of all. So,
It
and
is.
martial arts are even based off of those throws and jujitsu and all those fun. So, it's plausible.
What, you gonna have a gargoyle do a luchador move?
Listen, I was trying to give some kind of balance here. I've done a lot of attacking. I was trying to be positive.
How many times have you jumped on somebody's shoulders and flipped upside down with your legs to flip them? I don't know. I
How many
agree.
times have you is the bigger question. You seem like you seem like you're like, I know it can't be done. I've done it.
Oh no, it can be done. Seen it done many times. I've just never seen gargoyles do it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is the one thing that I truly hate about this film is these gargoyles though. And so just throwing that out there, the film is beautiful. I love it start to finish, except for these gargoyles.
I
Other
have to
than
say like the I would say I'm gonna do my two favorite scenes. The in the first 15 minutes, just to get I want to build up to this scene because it's so good. It's more emotion based than anything else. But the before Dracula goes into war, he goes to his priest and he goes, I have one thing for you to ask of your God, and that's that you protect my wife, that she's safe. And that's all he asked. And the priest was like, it's God's will. You know, he was kind of like making kind of half-assed excuses. And the castle starts getting, or wherever she's staying, starts getting attacked. And so she has to flee, or she's going somewhere to meet. That's what it was. She was going somewhere to meet him at another castle to meet up afterwards.
yeah, he was sending her to a different castle that was
Right.
further away to
Right.
be safe.
And when they went there, the Muslim invaders they came in and they found her and her horse. And as soon as he had won the battle where he was at, he goes. He hears from his men the princess has been attacked, and he goes to her and he's almost to her. And he actually, if we're being honest, he actually kills her. He throws his sword and throws it through the Muslim who has her in his arms, and it goes through him and into her. Um, but that's not the part that was amazing. The part that was amazing was what happens after when he comes back to the priest and he denounces God and how he does it. I'll let you see that for yourself. But that part was so unbelievably emotional, riveting. I felt I could feel the intensity in Caleb Landry Jones's face and his eyes when he was in that moment. And I love when you have an actor that's that committed to a role that made it that intense. And then from there, the other scene is the one I already talked about, that the nuns in the monastery. Oh my God, was it good? But I was a little confused about that scene too. I know he's Dracula, he's not the minions, so him going onto a holy ground was a little weird for me. I didn't quite. They
Yeah,
invited him in, but he still shouldn't be able to go in there because it's
yeah.
holy ground, right?
They invited him in, but um, they did do crosses a little different. You know, they showed crosses to him, but it didn't affect them. It just basically the crosses would burst into flames in their presence. But
Wait, wait.
um,
After he's denounced God, I will talk about this too. He tries to end his life. He wants to be with his wife.
yes,
And he tries and tries and tries, but God will not let him die. And it's quite impressive, I have to say. I did appreciate that sequence as well.
yeah, yeah. No, there's so many sequences like that. Like those scenes you mentioned are my two favorites as well. The scene with him trying to unalive himself was fantastic. Um, I love the freak show. So there's a scene later in the film when he reunites with Elizabeth and they go to this freak show and they're going through this freak show with like a mermaid and a bearded lady and all this and this coincides with the Maria character, her so excited and like you say so carefree
Mhm.
and full of life, going through this freak show with Dracula. And I loved all that. Like I loved all that scene. The weakest thing in this film, outside of the gargoyles, is the ending. The ending is it's not much different from what we've seen in other Dracula films, but it's so quick. But there is something that brought me back in the ending, and it's the dust in the wind. You
Well,
know,
that was quite amazing.
yeah,
And it went up towards the sunlight. So I think the whole story arc that the priest's character was trying to deliver, though, and that his people had found out over the period of the 400 years that they were hunting Dracula,
hmm
was that it was he needed to be forgiven and needed to find redemption to find God again. And the way that Christopher Waltz's character spun spun the way he thought about God around and made him kind of look at it a little bit differently. That kind of led him to that path. I feel he
Hmm.
because what was the line? Dracula looked at the priest and he goes, "But she is my salvation," and he goes, "But you are her damnation."
Yeah, yeah.
I thought
Which is
that
a
was
great line. It's a great
yeah,
line.
absolutely, and it made it all of a sudden it like clicked. It was like I'm the reason why she will be damned. I can't do this to her, and
Yeah.
he lets it be what it is.
I love the. I see. I love all that about the ending, but what I hate it is so quick.
Yeah,
It just felt so rushed. But everything within that ending was great. Like the explanation, and then what happened with the dust in the wind, and like you said, going to the sunlight and redemption. And yeah, the ending is fantastic. It's just a bit rushed.
I disagree only because they did the Skywalker hallway scene.
That was a fantastic scene too. God, that was
He
so
cut
good.
through at least 10 people like they were butter. It was so good.
Yeah, it's literally like if you've seen the Rogue One Vader scene at the end. It's similar to that, or the Skywalker and the Mandalorian scene going
Yes.
through. Like it's very similar to those scenes, but it's
The
Dracula.
Dracula version with no lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh, so did you look up budget on this?
So I couldn't find a budget. There was no budget established yet.
I
Uh,
found one. I found
oh,
the budget. I found one, or is it's estimated at 45 million.
I can't guess anymore. Is that it?
Oh, sorry. You said I should have. I should have.
No, you're
Yeah,
good.
I messed up. Would
It's
you
all.
like to guess?
I've done it. What's that?
Would you like to guess?
No, I'm at 45 million. Yeah, it's good.
Wow, you
Uh,
got it.
but I did see there was a number for it's what it's made so far, even though it's not released yet. Technically, I think it was sitting around like 30,000 just for current.
I saw that because, um, and you know what I think? Because there was a theatrical release of this in Europe last year or in France. And so I'm assuming that that number is from over there from last year.
So
Um,
no, they didn't give two shits about this movie then.
so yeah, so I don't think that we've gotten any fresh numbers on, because obviously this movie, like I said, the movie's out now that we're talking about this film, but the night that we're recording this movie actually doesn't come out until this coming Thursday. But we got to watch it as a mystery film, so there is no actual numbers, current numbers for us as we're recording. But as this episode comes out, there will be updated numbers.
So so let's go further with this then. Let's guess what we're gonna end up at for this movie. We can review it some other time.
Okay. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I love this film, and we'll get to that in a minute on how much I actually love this film. But unfortunately, I think this is bad timing. Still, they pushed it a year because of Nosferatu, but we're looking at Strangers Chapter 3. We're looking at Scream 7, all coming out within the next couple of weeks. I feel like this is going to bomb. I feel like 20, 30 million.
It's a lot to contend with Scream 7 and with Strangers, but I do feel those are very niche, and I do feel that I mean, Scream obviously is a larger setting than Strangers, but still, I think Dracula is still an old school. It's a staple. It's got. I mean, you know what you're going into, so you won't be necessarily let down. So I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to say this movie pulls in. Let's go 79 to 70 to 80, 75 to 85 mil. Let's do that.
Yeah, I just don't see it because I don't see no, I hadn't seen the trailer, but I haven't been paying a lot of attention. So I just think there's not been a lot of publicity for this film. I could be wrong. I'm gonna stand on my 20 to 30 million, but um,
I'm going
I
to be
don't.
real honest. Dracula Untold was pretty damn good, and they're about to start working on the sequel of that too. So I'm kind of pumped.
Oh, the what's his name's the one from the like 2010s.
Yeah, it
They're
was in
doing a
that ballpark.
sequel to that.
Yep.
Huh? Yeah, I went to the theater and watched that film. Yeah,
I'm I will too.
No, no,
I
I
will.
know, I know. I watched the original
No,
in the
that's what I'm
theater.
saying. Me as well, but I'm saying I will go as well to see this because I don't know why it was just a darker, better approach when I saw that. I mean, not
Well,
comparing it to this one, but
yeah, there's things I liked about it, and there's things I hated about it. I was excited for a sequel because it put him in modern day, um, that they set up, which they were kind of back then they were setting up that Universal monster universe, and so I was kind of excited to see where it went. So if we are legit getting it, then cool. I'm here for it. But it is a different film than this.
oh yeah, yeah. That's not traditional Dracula. That's just fictionalized. Not it's all fiction. I get it. I'm talking about from the book though. It's not. It doesn't hold those bounds. Let's get into ratings.
All right, you want to go first? You want me to go?
I can go first. So I pretty much already addressed my likes and dislikes with this. I do feel like there is a lot of similarities to Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, rightfully so. We know the book, we know the story, we know kind of the direction this story goes. I do feel that versus that one, I feel the cinematography was far superior for Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I do feel that that one was more scary. And so I do like that one more than this one. And I took when we did our little round table last night. I did take a lot of what you guys were saying in because I said I wanted to sit with this and digest this for a minute, and that was where I needed to. I wanted to sit with it because I definitely I'm going to be rewatching that as well soon. That said, though, there were a lot of weak points, a lot of things that fell short for me here too. Mainly Christopher Waltz and him trying to be funny. I didn't really need that. It didn't sit with me well. The gargoyles too were a little rough, but all in all, this movie is not bad. So I'm going 3.9 nerds for me.
Okay, well, that's a great rating.
Yeah,
Um, so we've talked about it. Same thing. Christopher Waltz and the Gargoyles are what really hold this film back. But this movie is visually it's gorgeous. I love the look of this film. I love some of these scenes. Some of these scenes I think can be more iconic than what uh, we've seen in the past with some Dracula films. A lot of the Dracula films. Um, so the cast is fantastic. Outside of the one we've talked about, but the cast overall is all of them are pretty fantastic. Start to finish. I really love this film, and yeah, I think it's up there with uh, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. I don't know if it's better. It's a different.
that's what I was referencing. I
It's
kept saying
different.
Bram Stoker's, but
It's different. With the fact of Francis Ford Coppola did a horror film where um,
a love tale.
Luke Besson is done a love tale. This isn't a horror film. It has horror elements, horror adjacent, as Rick would say, but it has horror elements that are there, but it's not a horror film. It is a Dracula love story, and it is Bram Stoker's novel, but done a little different. That less horror. So, looking at this as not a horror film because it's not, then I have to rate this at a 4.3 because I generally really loved it as a movie, not a horror film.
That's
And
fair.
will I say there's elements of this, and I'll stand on what I said last night to Ryan and Rick. There's elements of this movie that I put above Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Um, but as a horror film, then yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula is the better film. But as a love story and some of the visuals in this film, I actually really enjoyed it a lot more than Bram
I would
Stoker's
I
Dracula.
would say that the the combo personality people out there who are gothic and romantic are going to absolutely be head over heels for this
Mm-hmm.
movie. That's kind of the vein that it sat with me. And to your point of the iconic imagery, one of my favorite moments that I didn't talk about, which totally I don't know why I forgot, but when you said the imagery thing, it popped. There's a scene right after that in that first 15-20 minutes in that right when the battle concludes and his people are victorious, they come up over the ridge line
Mm-hmm.
with the fires burning behind them, and they all have their spears and their pikes, and on each one is a head. They've beheaded their enemies that they've defeated, and they have put their heads on the spikes, and it gave kind of a more non-fictionalized approach to Vlad the Impaler.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of put that in perspective, whereas you hear the legends where he just mounted these people on spikes and crosses and impaled them, and all the different things you hear. But this was kind of made it more a wartime scenario where that's just what happened. So I appreciated this movie a lot. When this comes out, I'll be happy to add it to the collection too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's. I think you hit the nail. I think if you're wanting to watch if you're a horror fan, watch Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you're a gothic love story fan, then watch this one. You're going to prefer this one, I think. And I think could, for me, it could depend what kind of mood I'm in.
Hey, man, when he was yelling at the priest about because of how much he loved his wife and how he was just so broken, I told you, man, I resonated with that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about my wife. It's you when you have that passion, that love for someone, that's where you resonate with something like that. That's just a powerful moment. I loved it.
Yeah. So overall, we both recommend this. Do we have any film recommendations?
Not a film recommendation, a series recommendation. And people are going to probably make fun of me for this, but I picked this to have something kind of mind numbing to watch. I started watching Nathan Fillion's The Rookie, and I've been enjoying the hell out of this TV show. It's a series about a 46-year-old, same age as me, who decides he's going to basically life affirming become a police officer out of nowhere, midlife crisis, if you will. And but the show is great. It's rinse and repeat every episode. You can kind of put it on in the background. You know that they're going to identify a problem. They're going to go through the problems to get them to the resolution, and the show ends. It's had a lot of great guest appearances and a lot of fun. So Nathan Fillion just always kick ass. So there you go.
Yeah, I love Nathan Fillion, and I've never watched that series. I've watched a few episodes, but what little I've watched has been good, and it has always had great reviews. So, it's one I probably need to dive into at some point.
I don't know if you want to. I mean, I'm only in. I just got to season 3, and there's 8 seasons, and there's like
Yeah.
20 episodes a season, so it's a lot.
Oh yeah. No, I've powered through some of those in recent months too. So, I mean, I just rewatched the entire series of Grimm.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling me that.
So,
I powered through all of Naruto because my son didn't think I could do it, so I get it.
so since we reviewed a vampire film, I'm going to recommend a vampire film. So, I decided to do a little bit of a lesser known vampire film that I think a lot of people missed. You don't hear much about it. 1977's George Romero directed vampire film called Martin. Did you ever see this one?
I did not.
George Romero, you guys know he did Night of the Living Dead. He did the Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Well, he did a vampire film in the 70s called Martin. And this film is about a young man that is being shipped to a different family member. Every time something happens, he gets shipped off to another family member. And for most of the movie, you don't know if he's a vampire or not, or just a weirdo. But one thing he does is he takes these women, um, and he takes a razor blade because he doesn't have teeth. He cuts and drinks their blood. Um, so it's a little bit of a different twist, and I'm not going to give too much more away, but it's a different variation of a vampire, and it's a very cool vampire film if you've never seen it. George Romero's 1977, Martin.
Sweet. And on that note, CineNerdsPodcast.com is the website. We got over 100 plus episodes up on there. If you're just learning about us or just coming across us, go check out some of our backlog episodes. There's lots of top 5 lists in there too, so go check it out. go ahead and hit like on the premiere video itself, on the actual YouTube video. Share this. Let people know we're out here. If you know people who like movies and they want to hear something good, great, we got them. Oh yeah, I guess there's a merch store too. You want to talk about that this time, JP?
Well, there's a merch store on there, and we have signed posters on the website. We have, if you get into our actual merch page, we have a merch store, a separate merch store from there that has T-shirts, hoodies, koozies, coffee mugs, keychains. There's all kinds of stuff. There's just go on there. You can look. You can order. Cool stuff. So, also talking about the YouTube. We also have all this stuff on audio podcast sites, apps. So we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Amazon, we're on all the major podcast apps, and
Pretty
even the
much
small
all
ones.
your audio listening pleasures.
So if you're listening to us on any of those, if it allows you to leave a comment, leave a comment. If it allows you to write a review, write us a review. So it's always much appreciated, and it helps us build and actually reach more people. The more people that write the reviews on these pages, the more people we start reaching. So thank you.
You done on the soapbox?
No, I do it all the time. Until next week, guys.
Later.